The Lights Went On by Tessie Lamore. Looking down on Trafalgar Square, you might well notice the throngs of tourists posing with Admiral Nelson as a backdrop, or children here and there chasing the numerous pigeons. Amidst the bustle, you might not catch a glimpse of the young man sitting on a dirty ledge on the far side, looking out at the crowds but not really seeing them. You might easily miss the young woman talking on her mobile phone and skirting the edges. She seemed determined to avoid notice, but when she walked near the young man and laughed aloud at something her caller said, his head snapped around. Standing up abruptly, but not moving, the young man called out, "Karen, is that you?" Karen, for it was her, stopped in her tracks and turned halfway around before catching sight of the young man. "Oh, shit," she said. "I just saw... Can't explain. I'll call later." She dropped the phone in her purse, but didn't move, her body tensing as if to run, but leaning toward the young man as well. After a moment, she called out in a very soft voice, "Dennis?" The young man turned toward her, and he stepped closer. "I knew it must be. I recognized your laugh. Simply the most beautiful sound out here." Karen blushed and turned her face away. Then, squaring her shoulders, she turned back toward him. "How did you find me?" Dennis frowned. "It wasn't easy. I didn't know your full name, but you said you worked in the National Gallery, so I..." His voice trailed off. "You've been waiting out here for me?" Karen said, her voice cracking slightly with surprise. Dennis nodded. "Why didn't you come inside?" "I'm not sure why you looked for me at all," she said, her voice dropping, "after I left like that." Dennis started. "After you left?" he said. But I left you there. I didn't think you'd be able to accept me the way I am. After I did, I regretted it, but everybody started moving and I couldn't get back to the car. I was frantic, and when I found my seat, you were gone. I called for you on the platform once I realized what I was giving up, that for once I had to take a chance. Ever since, I've been trying to find you, to ask you to forgive me and give me that chance." Karen looked at him without speaking, a tear slowly tracing its way down the scars which crisscrossed the left side of her face. Her eyes gazed longingly at his rugged features, his wavy brown hair, but her brow furrowed with the caution of one spurned too often. "Why did you leave?" Dennis went on softly. I really thought we had something special." Karen let out a tiny sob. "I was so scared in the dark when the train stopped. I thought the tunnel might flood, and you were so brave and kind. When you put your arms around me, held me, and told me how beautiful I was, I felt safe like I haven't in years and years." She stopped to catch her breath. "But when you went to the loo and when the lights went on, I was afraid." She brought her hand up to her disfigured face. "I didn't want you to see me this way. I wanted you to remember me as the beautiful woman in the dark." Dennis smiled, a sad smile of understanding. He stepped closer and reached out his right hand, which Karen took reluctantly, searching his face for the inevitable revulsion. "Come with me," he said. He gently pulled Karen back toward where he had been sitting. "Where are we going?" Karen asked, wild hope fighting through the despair in her voice. Dennis stopped and reached out with his left hand to grasp a white cane. "Anywhere you will take me," he said, holding on to her arm and gesturing to the world which awaited them.